Hi guys, welcome to Bold Chat, brought to you by Network Access Group at Net Access Group. So excited to have you guys here today. Happy Thanksgiving week. I appreciate it. I know they're saying it's record-breaking travel right now for Thanksgiving, the busiest we've seen in 15 years. So I appreciate you and my awesome guests today joining. There's a lot of people sick right now. I hope you're not. People sick, people traveling. So I really appreciate, the support and you guys being here and sharing some of your holiday week with us. Jimmy, thank you so much for reposting the stream. Thank you, Cade. We do love the chat. We love the comments. So please, please, please keep it flowing. I will do my best to pay attention and try to bring comments, questions up on the screen as well. So we want this to be as interactive as possible. So thank you for sharing. We love to, have as many people join the conversation as possible. So welcome to Bold Chat. The link is in my bio. If you have not already, head over and follow me on Rumble so that you don't miss any of the Bold Chat live streams or the Bold Talk podcast weekly episode. So thanks so much. So without further ado, I will bring in, you know him, you love him, Jay. And we also, for the first time, have Mr. Will Johnson here with us today. Hi, guys. Happy almost Thanksgiving.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
Absolutely. So speaking of, how are you guys traveling at all for the holiday for this week, or are you staying put?
No, I'm not exciting. I just, I cook turkey, cook ham, cook mashed potatoes. That's dad life. So that's the way I do it. My oldest is he's going to New York City. So he'll actually go to New York City before dad has ever gone. So he's going with friends to see all the stuff up there. So.
Oh my gosh. And he's never been?
He's never been, no.
Well, I'll be really curious to hear what he thinks about it.
Yeah. So dad hasn't actually been there. But yeah, I should go there too. I've flown by it. I've seen the Statue of Liberty out the side of an airplane. So
that's one way of seeing it. Yeah.
Well, I just plan on traveling to the couch. So I'm going to be good.
I think that's the most frequently traveled probably destination on Thanksgiving is maybe the couch.
Absolutely.
Will, if you don't mind sharing, where do you live?
I'm in Texas.
Oh,
I'm in Texas.
Cool.
Yeah. I used to live in California, but 6 years ago, I moved to Texas.
Nice. How are you liking it compared to California?
I love the weather in California, and there's really good people in California, but Texas is hot and there's good people in Texas. So it's just, if I could change the weather, then it would be great. But yeah, other than that, it's cool.
Yeah. Well, I have kind of a similar story. I'm from Florida originally. And I lived in New York City for 12 years and I just moved back to Florida. So it's,
nice.
Yeah, it's nice to have different experiences, for sure. So do you guys have any favorite? Well, Jay, are you a good cook?
Well,
based on everything you're making.
I am a good cook, but when you have to cook every night for your kids or whatever, because I'm a single parent, so I raise my kids by myself or whatever. So when you have to cook every single night, you get a little less creative. So I'm actually a pretty good cook, but Thanksgiving's easy. Like cooking turkey, it's nothing, and glazing a ham, that's nothing. So that's not very skilled there, but yeah, for sure, I'm a good cook.
Nice, I like it. Will, are you going to be doing any cooking, or whose food or cooking are you going to be looking forward to?
I'm just going to do a lot of eating. So what I do, I go to the gym in the morning and then I'll fast for the most part of the day. And then I'll eat like a meal. But Thursday, I'm just going to chill on the couch and I'm going to eat that bird. Maybe just a small slither of pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie, just a small slither. And that's it.
Well, that sounds, it sounds perfect. Very traditional. It sounds like you're big on the protein. I'm actually going to a friend's family for things. So I'm not traveling, which is nice. And my favorite thing is green bean casserole. So I'm bringing it. I'm making 2 to bring for the group, and that's like my favorite thing that I look forward to on.
I love it too, and nobody likes it. I don't get it. Like with
What?
the onions on top. My God, it's so good.
So good. I always do like extra onions too, because I feel like they're
Right.
everyone's favorite part, and get them like nice and crispy. Yes. Well, hopefully, wish me luck. Hopefully I make them every year, but hopefully they turn out well. It's not the hardest thing to make. The turkey and the ham you're making, Jay, is a lot harder, but
yeah, you just pop it in the oven. It's not a big deal. So, and then the ham, I glaze it when it's out on the grill. So I do the glaze out there. So it's great for like crystallizing it or whatever.
Yeah. Well, to me, it's kind of crazy right now. It's probably pretty warm in Texas too, no? Right now?
Oh. No, actually, it's been pleasant this past summer. For the past 6 years I've been here, the past summer has been the best. I think we hit in the hundreds maybe twice. I mean, it's like normal to be in the hundreds here, but maybe twice we hit in the hundreds. But other than that, it's been pretty decent. Been very cloudy, no complaints. It was raining yesterday, so it's been pretty nice. It's absolutely beautiful out today. So,
well, I guess you brought the nice weather with you then. So
yeah, just 6 years later.
I love it. Well, yeah, I'm in Florida now too, so it's interesting because all my friends in New York are freezing and cold, and I'm like, it's 80s here still, and I'm like sitting by the pool. So that's a nice change, a welcome change. Thanks so much, guys, for reposting the stream and all the nice comments. Okay, so in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I thought we could kick it off with some video clips of Trump at the turkey pardoning.
Remember last year, after a thorough and very rigorous investigation by Pam Bondi and all of the people at Department of Justice, the FBI, the CIA, the White House Counsel's Office, and the Department of Everything. We have a Department of Everything. You know what that is? I think that's called the White House. Into a terrible situation caused by a man named Sleepy Joe Biden. He used an auto pen last year for the turkey's pardon. So I have the official duty to determine, and I have determined that last year's turkey pardons are totally invalid. As are the pardons of about every other person that was pardoned other than, where's Hunter? No, Hunter's was good. That was the one pardon, Pam, that was good, right? The rest of them are all invalid. I don't know what the hell you're going to do about that, but now we're going to take a little of the joking. That is a mess. But they're hereby null and void. The turkeys known as Peach and Blossom last year have been located, and they were on their way to be processed. In other words, to be killed. But I have stopped that journey, and I am officially pardoning them. And they will not be served for Thanksgiving dinner. We saved them in the nick of time. This one has plenty of time, but they were saved in the nick of time. We're thrilled to be.
So there's a little extension of this too. So I'm going to play the next continuation, and then we'll chat.
Turkeys being pardoned today go by the names of Gobble and Waddle. When I first saw their pictures, I thought we should send them. Well, I shouldn't say this. I was going to call them Chuck and Nancy. But then I realized I wouldn't be pardoning them. I would never pardon those two people. I wouldn't pardon them. I wouldn't care what Melania told me. Darling, I think it would be a nice thing to do. I won't do it, darling.
So did you guys catch that? Had you already seen these clips?
I hadn't, and the thing is like, if you haven't seen, like, I know, you have like a lot of liberal followers and stuff like that, but if you haven't seen Trump live and in person, you really don't get the feel for how funny he is. He is freaking hilarious, and he plays the crowd. Like when you're there in person, because I went to bunch of rallies and stuff like that. I was laughing the entire time. I love that guy, but I granted, I get it. Some of your followers probably don't feel the same way that I do. But the thing is like he works the room so well that like you don't even get the impression of like when you're watching him on camera. And I think he's hilarious on camera too. But like he's funny. He's hilarious. I love that guy.
Well, I'll say in 100 years from now, when they go back and look at the footage of President Trump, they're going to say this president was a comedian. I mean, I'm with you. I mean, he cracks jokes and he's having people laugh, but there's a lot of people that don't like his jokes, right? Because there's Trump. I can't stand Trump, but you're right. 100, like I said, 60 years from now, when they look back at Trump, they're going to say the president was a comedian. How did we ever do it?
Yeah. Well, I like to see him push back too, because he catches so much flack from so many people that is completely undeserved. So I like it when he jabs back at them, because you can only be politically correct for so long before you punch back, and he punches back. He doesn't take any shit from anybody. So good for him for doing that. Good for him for getting up there and saying that, because I agree with him on the AutoPen stuff. I agree with him that it wasn't done properly. I I don't know what else to do. I mean, he can only do what he can do. It's not his job to solve that or whatever. But like, I think it's important to be truthful about what you feel and what you saw and what and that's exactly what he's doing. He's doing it on the stage. He's being funny about it or whatever, but he's being truthful too.
Yeah, I think having a sense of humor is so important and like works really well. I rather see that than nastiness. Right. I don't like as much when it gets like name calling and like ugly, so I think kind of, using humor in a way to shed light on something or speak up about, that you disagree with is a better use than just like sort of being hateful or negative or nasty towards someone.
Right. Well, I mean, he's constantly against the ropes too, with the media, with other politicians and stuff like that, social media. Like, people are coming at him 24/7. He never gets a break, and he's a human being too. He has to, he has a wife, he has kids, he has grandkids. You can only take so much too. So like, I'm glad that he's using humor. It's funny. I like his personality. So he's just hilarious. I love that dude.
And Mr. Will Johnson, you're a fan, I'm assuming. Yes, because I don't know you very well. We're meeting for the first time. So
yes, I'm actually I'm a fan of Trump's, and I'm actually a fan of yours.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You used to pop up on my For You on X like every single day during the election. And I mean, look, I loved it when you did those walk-bys and you told everyone MAGA's mad at me. I'm like, no, I'm really not mad at you. I'm kind of a fan.
Aw, that's nice. Have you seen a change? Like, I don't know, like, because I've changed sort of recently. I don't know if
I can see the change, but to be honest with you, since Kevin reached out to me and asked me if I could, step up for him because he's running behind, I haven't seen your content on X. And that's happened to a lot of people here lately, and it's frustrating. Yeah. I mean, all the people that I used to watch, especially during the election of 2024, I barely see them any longer. Primarily what I see on my page, and I don't even like the stuff, I see primarily anti-Israel. And if you don't like Israel, that's entirely up to you. But that's all I'm seeing. And that's not what I want to see. I want to see content like yours. I want to see content of other liberals, other than just talking about their hatred for Israel or fight Palestine or anything like that. I want to see content that goes the opposite of mine, which, that kind of does, but I want to see some other stuff.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's been coming up a lot, just in terms of, a common complaint and theme is that people are not seeing the content that they want. Like, they're not seeing their followers' content.
Right.
Like, you follow people for a reason, and you're like, why am I not seeing any of this? So the algorithm has been a topic of conversation a lot.
Yeah, The most frustrating part is when you subscribe to somebody and then you cannot find it. Like they just completely disappear off your, like I'm subscribing to them for a reason. Like their stuff should be popping first into my feed. That's why I subscribe to them. I want to see their stuff, you know. I want to engage them. Like I don't get that piece. Like that should be an automatic thing. It should trigger something in there that where you're seeing their content, you're getting to engage them or whatever. Like granted, you pop up at the top of their, you know, responses, but you know, that's not enough. Like I think you should be able to see their stuff. It should be an automatic they're popping in your feed.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think we all agree. I hope that they do some work on that. So how about, do you guys think that our country is in a better place this year than last year? I guess since we're talking about Thanksgiving and sort of like, do you think we're in a better place this year?
You want, well, I can go first. So I definitely do. So the topic that you brought up tonight about Doge and stuff. So I think that Doge was brilliant because, you know, in terms of like looking at things, cutting huge swaths out of the budget, right? And the reason why I work for the government for most of my adult life. And so I know exactly how much fraud, waste, and abuse goes on and how often they're like, whoa, we just did this last year, so we're going to keep doing it again or whatever, regardless of whether it makes sense or not. And the old system relied a lot on self-reporting. So it was up to the individual to report or to, you know, raise their hand about, you know, fraud, waste, and abuse or whatever. They had the fraud, waste, and abuse hotline. Well, the problem with that is they are working for the agency or they're working under the contract that they're, you know, they're reporting the fraud. So they would be, you know, a lot of them would be reporting themselves out of a job essentially. So who the hell's going to do that? You know, they got to feed their family or whatever. And so Doge being an outside entity, they could look at it, you know, they could look at it a little bit better. They could view it in a different light. And so I thought it was brilliant. And so, you know, the things that they brought up, I am, you know, a lot of it I'm for cutting. I wish they would have cut it. You know, it's like we, you know, I think a lot of some of it, you know, it wouldn't matter whether you're liberal or conservative, you could agree that, hey, maybe this is stupid. Why are we spending money on this? You know, this doesn't help us in any single way. And so I wish we would have got some more of that done. You know, I like, you know, some of the things that they're doing. I like, you know, how they shut down the border, right? I love that, you know, that we've done that this year. But, you know, like Elon being frustrated with, you know, not getting the Doge cuts fully implemented into the budget. That's it doesn't make any sense. Why are we paying for, you know, gender studies in Mozambique? You know, why are we doing these ridiculous things? It doesn't benefit the American taxpayer. Yeah, if we had this surplus of money, maybe, but you know, we have a $2 trillion deficit. We should not be sending money overseas. We should be taking care of people here at home. We should be taking care of veterans. We should be taking care of, you know, our you know, we spent, what was it, 1.2 trillion or what, I forget what the infrastructure bill was, but you know, we still got huge potholes and discrepancies out on the roads and stuff like that. Like why are we wasting all this money on this other stuff? So in that respect, you know, I wish we could have got more done this year.
If I can add to that, one thing I wish President Trump would have said differently when he says, when I go back into office, I'll bring the price of everything down on day one. He should have said, I will start that process on day one, because everything that happened over the past 4 years, you can't change it overnight. It's not going to happen. It's probably not going to happen within a year. So we are, to be honest, we are seeing some prices that are higher than others, higher than what we want them to be, even though gas is coming down. But you can't fix everything that they destroyed in 1 year. You can't fix it in 1 year. I mean, it's going to take time, even though they complained about the tariffs coming in, and the tariff is essentially like a tax. But the problem that I have is, how come they don't ever complain about the other nations applying the tariffs to the products that we want to send out? We can't make money because of the tariffs that they have applied. And President Trump is only returning the favor, which a lot of people don't ever want to talk about it at that angle. They don't want to look at it that way. But this year versus last year, it's a lot better. nationwide. I have to say nationwide because we're seeing things happening. We're seeing positive things happening. And
well, prices are coming down. One of the exceptions is beef. Beef is just outrageous right now. Like that's like I don't know if you've been to the grocery store. I don't know if you eat beef, but I'm telling you right now, a steak is probably about 50, $60 for a steak, like a decent steak, which is crazy. But you know, home prices are starting to come down, right? I've seen that. You know, everybody was talking about eggs at the beginning of the year. Eggs have come down. You know, you can buy eggs for like what, like a little over $3 a carton now or whatever. So those prices are starting to come down. So that's helpful, you know, for buying groceries and stuff for the average person or whatever. But you know, like I said, beef is way up there. Beef is,
I agree.
and it's and you can't just fix it all in one swath, right?
Right.
It's been a problem for so long, and they just compounded it, you know, and so you know it's going to take time. It's going to take like he's not a miracle worker, but he does a lot for our country. He's fighting for our country. The tariffs are leverage. You should be leveraging things against these other countries. If you give up all your leverage, they're going to walk all over you, which you know, like countries like China did.
Yeah, I agree with you. Some of the stuff is coming down. Some of the products that we purchase is coming down. But you're right, beef is just ridiculous. I like to purchase lamb, and it's ridiculous. So I think just meat in general, other than the turkey right now because it's Thanksgiving week, you know, they want to make sure that's affordable for everybody. But I saw a report. They were on CNN. I believe it was CNN. It could have been MSDNC. But they were on there and they were reporting about the different prices of everything and how stuff is happening and inflation is even going up. And the thing that I found interesting about it is that everybody that was on the panel, because inflation is not going down, they were happy about it. They were happy that people in the country are still struggling. They're happy that people are not finding, you know, where they can purchase a new home, even though the interest rate for that is coming down a little bit. People can it's starting to look, you know, on the good side of it, but they're happy that people are still suffering, which is mind blowing to me. I don't care if you're left or right, up or down. You should be able to make a living and take care of your family and not have to worry about the price of eggs, right? This is something we shouldn't have to worry about, but nonetheless, that's where we are. That's where, you know, it's happening.
Right. And, you know, I personally didn't want Joe Biden to be unsuccessful. I personally didn't want Barack Obama to be unsuccessful because we all pay the price when they're unsuccessful. So I don't get the mentality like, yes, they're failing or whatever.
Exactly.
Yes, the other side is failing like that. Why would you, you know, celebrate that? We're all paying the price for those failures. Like and not that President Trump is failing because I don't think he is, but the thing is like, why would you try like root for the, you know, root for all of us to fail? That's dumb. Personally,
I think the reason why they want President Trump to fail with the economy, because then they can turn around and say, look, we told you. We told you so. We told you so. And you're right. When Obama was in office, when Bush was in office, I didn't care for Bush either. When Biden was in office, they're flying the plane. Do we want them to fail?
No.
Exactly. This is something that I say all the time too. It's so funny. Like the more that we all talk, it's like there is all this common ground, because that's the same for me. Like with Trump winning, you know, the last election, I got so frustrated seeing liberals just like, you know, doom and gloom and like screaming and just angry and still. And I'm like, yeah, it was kind of a turning point for me where I'm like, I am rooting for the country. I, you know, want to hope that things are going to be good. And so, yeah, I feel like everything that you're saying is super reasonable, especially about things taking time, you know, no matter what's like on both sides, it can, you know, people can get that all wrong. Like I think it's a reasonable thing. It's a common sense thing to be like, things take time. They're not overnight. But sometimes our mentality is that we want things quick, or we want to be quick to criticize when it's the other party. You know, there's a lot of that going on. So to me, yeah, it's reasonable.
Well, to your credit, when I saw your videos, even though stuff was going crazy, you were still positive about it. And you were poking fun at it. You were poking the bear. And, you know, be honest, I don't ever recall seeing any of your videos where you were just piping mad. I mean, I can't recall seeing any. Now I have because, and I think it's okay for us to call out what the other side is doing. I think it's perfectly fine. it's just how we go by doing it. I don't think we should, look for calling for harm against one another, because that doesn't do anything but escalate stuff like Charlie Kirk and the attempts on President Trump. We don't need any of that. But I think it's okay to call each other out, especially if we're truly loving this country and we want all of us to be successful. Because at the end of the day, I think that we all should point out stuff that we're doing, if it's wrong, to try to be better, to help us out, not to criticize and to break people down. But a lot of that does happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's okay to disagree, but it's better to put it out there, have the conversation, have the dialogue. And like you said, try to get to a better place, try to come up with solutions, try to, so yeah, I completely agree with that.
But your content was like before or whatever. Yours is like, there's a certain level of snark. It was very well done. You did a fantastic job of it. It would draw a lot of like people would be mad or whatever, but that's the thing. You weren't mad. You were happy. You were doing your thing or whatever. Like it's very different what, and I won't say any names on here, but like a lot of big liberal influencers or whatever, like they're just going at it. Like it's just a fight back and forth with the right or whatever. Like, but yours is snarky. It's funny. It's like, it's good. Like that's, I enjoy it. Like
so
I regret ever putting you into a category with some of those other ones, because it's way more intelligent. It's better done. And that's what drew me to you.
I would love to know what was the thing that got you to like, wait a minute.
About what?
About Trump. And also, what are your messages like from other liberals?
Well, yeah, now it's weird a lot, like, because my content has kind of changed. Like, I think, I keep it real to who I am and like how I'm feeling at that time. So I don't take back things that I've said. It's like, that's where I was at and this is where I'm at now, and sort of evolving. And, also with content, like what's funny, like what, it's been dances, it's been walks, it's been whatever, and just kind of seeing how that lands. But so he definitely used to trigger a lot more people on the right, like more conservatives who, like I would get really like nasty messages, even like, I hope terrible things happen to you kind of stuff. And it has like really flipped now, but it's all around. I guess it's been somewhat polarizing on both sides. Like either, people can take things too seriously or not see the fun in it or the humor. So it's kind of like it can piss off the right or the left or whatever. But now what's been really nice in my experience is that I'm having so many conversations with people on the right, and they're way more like accepting, like, and just like, we don't have to agree about everything, but they're willing to have conversations and find what we have in common. And unfortunately, like any little bit that I sort of push back against liberals, you're canceled, you're a fascist, you're a Nazi, like just for asking a question. And that's not normal. Like we should be able to agree and disagree about different things. Like we don't have to subscribe to all of the bullet points and echo chamber. But what's happening to me now is by, I've been using the example of, saying that I don't think vandalizing Teslas is the answer. And I don't think that, or the fact that I just went to a Moms for Liberty event, or I took a picture with someone, people are like, oh, unfollowed, you're a fascist, you're a Nazi. Like it's extreme.
It's interesting because the left, they used to champion that they were the ones that were open to different ideas and open to discussion. They used to champion that, saying that we're willing to talk to anybody about any topic. Now that has completely changed. And see, me, I'm a little morbid, I guess. I love talking to people that have a completely different point of view to me. I love talking to liberals. And the thing is, I don't curse. Me personally, I don't knock people who do curse. I just don't have the need. So I always say this to them. I said, look, I want to have the conversation with you. And what I found out is because I don't yell back at them or call them names or cursing at them, they get angrier with me. And I said, look, I truly just want to have the conversation with you. And then they just shut down. And then they call me all these colorful names. Me, especially me being a black man, dreadlocks, MAGA hat on. It's like all the negatives you can think about. And they can't get past any of that. Like I'm supposed to be a certain way. And it's just something. And I used to be a Democrat. I used to be a Democrat. When I lived in Arkansas, and then I moved to California and I became a Republican. Make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is too is like if you, the way you approach people matters, and that's how you open up the conversation. And like I've had Chris Mallory in my spaces before, and and when I'd have him up on stage and I'd let other people talk to him or whatever, it was just a battle. Like they were just battling back and forth or whatever. But like when I talk to him, I have kids that are not much younger than he is, also in Georgia. And so we had a completely different conversation. Granted, we don't agree on hardly anything. But the thing is like you can have a conversation with somebody when you come at them in a different way. And so he just got attacked in my space or whatever. But then I started to talk to him and I had a different conversation to him. And we leveled on a few things like Lake and Riley. We talked about that and we agreed that, her killer should not have been in the USA. It's not a take that I expected from him, but that's the take that he gave. And when you don't attack him or whatever, you can kind of break down where you meet. That's why you're doing a good job at bringing people together to talk, because we don't disagree on everything. We don't have to disagree on everything. We don't have to be in this stupid box. That's how you get nothing done, especially in Congress when you have to toe the party line on every single thing or whatever. Then you're never going to get anything accomplished. You're never going to negotiate. You're never going to do anything. It just shuts everything down. And that's why Congress, the Senate is completely dysfunctional. They get nothing done. And when you go from the one extreme to the other or whatever, then you don't get the best of everything. Like it's supposed to balance. You're not supposed to go from these one extreme. You're not supposed to go from a completely open border to a completely closed border or whatever. Like I want the border closed or whatever, but like now what happens when we get a Democrat president in there again? Are they going to open it wide open again, or are we going to go to like just go completely let 50 million people in the country again? I mean, what's going to happen? It's just crazy. Like, and because they have to toe the party line or whatever. And I know there's Democrats that don't want that to happen, but the thing is like they have to toe the line. They have to they're gonna have to vote the way that their party votes, otherwise they get excommunicated and then attacked.
Such great points, especially in terms of like your approach in talking with people. I mean, that's kind of going back to what I said about name calling and like it shuts people down so quickly, like your tone and like your whole. So I think it's really good to consider that if you're going to try to get through to someone or have an actual productive, constructive conversation. And I get it, right? People get heated. So like, Will, like good on you too for like people being angry and coming at you and being able to like keep yourself calm. And it just says a lot, and having that self-control. And I don't know, it says a lot about the other people, right?
Yeah.
That like have to take it there. And I've just seen, I feel like in these conversations, like so much anger, and I don't know, things that are not productive or constructive. Like, I don't think the way, I don't know, doubling down and just cursing everything and like being like, we're effed. And, like, I don't think that's, it's not helping anything.
Yeah. I've had multiple people say, I don't know how you can sit there and talk to them, because I'll do man on the street every now and then and say, how are you able to talk to them and not get frustrated and get angry and want to yell back at them? Because we've got to the point in this country where we can't communicate with one another. We just want to yell. We want to get angry, but we have to admit, when the conversations are at odds with one another, it really does make for an interesting conversation.
Mm-hmm.
People tune into it. People arguing with one another. People arguing their point. They're sticking with it. It really does make an interesting conversation. So, I mean, if you ever have, liberals on here, and I would love to come on with you, have the discussion. I'm not going to curse anything. I'll try not to disrespect anybody, because sometimes you say stuff
right.
But my goal is not to disrespect anybody, but I would love to have the conversation.
I love that. I think we need more of that. I've been frustrated that more liberal people won't have these conversations. There's a lot of like talk show hosts and things talking about that. Bill Maher is one of them, about how he invites a lot of liberals and they won't come on. I find that is frustrating. Like, yeah, what are you, I guess, scared of in having the conversation and approaching it, whatever, with an open mind. And it's okay if it's okay if you disagree, and challenge your beliefs, challenge your opinions. And that's, I think, what solidifies them and makes them stronger. And maybe you will change someone's mind, maybe even just a little bit, at least in terms of what they thought about you. But you won't change people's mind. If you react aggressively, then that just says something else about you. So
people shut down when you start getting nasty. People shut down. And I've learned, if I just respect others, even though they're yelling at me and calling me names, calling me all the colorful names you can think about, and I still just talk to them, or I go, sir or ma'am. I just, be polite. Sometimes they get upset if I call them sir or ma'am too, because then they like, you're misgender, you're my identity, and I'm like, okay, how am I supposed to know all of that? But at the same time, people are watching and they see how you act and you react, and then they see how they act. And there's a lot of people that's riding the fence. And then when they see someone reacting a certain way, they say, do we act like that for real? And then a light bulb goes on and say, I don't want to act like that. I don't want to come across like that. We should be able to talk to one another.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to highlight some great comments from the chat. Cade said, I changed the way I used to view everything. I used to believe that the world was in a shade of black and white with nothing good. But now I see that the world can be a good place. God is healing. That's why there's always, I hate the black and white, and that there's always, things are always more complicated. It's not like just you're right or you're wrong. Like, things are so much more complex than that, and finding that, thinking outside the box. And Jimmy, I lost respect for many people when they would just regurgitate talking points from the media rather than have a discussion and dialogue. We see a lot of that, right? A lot of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, happiness is a choice. I've been to some of the worst places on the planet, in Iraq and Afghanistan, really, truly miserable conditions, and very, like, just combat environment, basically. That's the way life is around there. But, in these places or whatever, you can find people that are happy. They're just living their life or whatever. They have nothing to do with the things that are going on outside there. They're trying to raise their family, they're raising their crops, whatever, and they're content. And you can, if you have that mindset, you go in with that mindset or whatever, even though things aren't going your way 100% of things, you can still be positive. You can still talk to people. You can still, be happy for the most part.
Yeah, totally. I'm like, from my mental health background, that's something that I worked with my clients a lot on, is thought processes and perspective. And it can be really tough when you're going through challenging things to be positive but you do have control over it. What you tell yourself and what you think affects your emotions and your behavior. So the more that you can sort of try to reframe the way that you're thinking about things, or your perspective, can then, lead to more positive mental health, emotional well-being. So absolutely is, and practicing like gratitude and things like that, So that's a great point as well. Okay, so going back, you kind of brought this up already, Jay, but DOGE. So DOGE was disbanded, the Department of Government Efficiency. I guess, kind of the question, which you sort of already weighed in a little bit on, Jay, is, was it a complete wash, or was there good that came out of it? I also was on board with cutting government waste. I think that's a good thing that they're looking at. I don't know why a lot of people were against it, maybe because it wasn't their guy, is the question. But so it seems like, I did write down some of the, I guess, shortcomings in terms of like what was anticipated or expected versus kind of what was going on. So it seems like it fell short of its goals, but do we think like, good things, still happened? They ended it 8 months early. So scheduled to end July of 2026. But it just ended now. They expected to find like 1 to 2 trillion in government waste. And I think it ended up being like around 214 billion. with employee reduction was promised like a 4-to-1 ratio. Dozens of fraud prosecutions were expected, but 0 were arrested. And then the U.S. national debt is up $2 trillion since January. I don't know. Thoughts on that? I know. Do we think like it was too aggressive, the tactics, in terms of like mass layoffs and program cuts? Do you guys
So I think it was successful. I don't think Doge was a failure at all. I think they did their job. They did exactly what they set out to do. And that's why Elon was frustrated when Congress didn't enact the changes that they had recommended. And I thought most of them most, if not all, were good recommendations. They just did, they did all this work and then nothing happened from it. It wasn't Doge's fault. They did exactly what they set out to do. They went and found these things. And I think they would have found more if they would have been implemented, but it comes a point where you're finding all these things, you're saying, hey, that we're wasting money here, and then we're just going to continue to spend money there. It's like, well, what did I just do all this work for? It's kind of fruitless, in a lot of respects. But I think they should keep it going, because when you have an outside entity to look at it versus the original system where it relied on self-reporting or the individual to bring it up or whatever, it didn't really accomplish anything. It didn't accomplish what it was supposed to do. They really had a system in place that was supposed to be doing the same thing. However, it never did. It never went anywhere. And so I wish they would keep it going. I wish they would implement it at the state level so they could look into the state fraud, waste, and abuse, because there's a lot of them there too. It's just, coming from working for the government for over 20 years, I just know that there should be things that we should cut. There should be, if you've worked for the government or whatever, at the end of the year, they end up spending all their excess money. Why do they do that? Because if they don't do it, they're going to cut their budget. Well, that is absolutely stupid that we're wasting money just so they don't get their budget cut the next year. There should be some system where you can give that money back or whatever, or put it back in, or put it towards next year's budget, something like that to offset it or whatever. So the taxpayer is not getting raked over the coals just so they could keep their budget for the next year.
I personally think that DOGE was actually successful as well, because remember, USAID got shut down, and all these programs, when they were getting shut down, who was out protesting against it? And it's no coincidence that when these programs started getting shut down, that the DNC is on the verge of bankruptcy, where they're having to do a line of credit. So I think President Trump found the cash cow where they were wasting a lot of the money, and he's shutting it down. And that was part of DOGE. And I agree with you. The fact that Elon Musk was finding all of this stuff and DOGE was finding it, and then Congress refused to put it in there, which would have been a no-brainer. Why are they not doing it? And I think a lot of them, insider trading, they're making money themselves, and they don't want it to go away. They got special interests. They want to fill their colleagues' pockets. They want to make sure all of that is happening. And I think that's the reason why they didn't add it in there, because then it's getting too close to home. Personal, that's just me on the outside looking in, of course.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just, those are lobbyists and stuff like that. They're gonna that's where a lot of their campaign contributions come from. So when you start cutting or whatever, your contributions are going to go away, and so it doesn't benefit them to do that. And so it benefits the taxpayers to cut waste or fraud, waste, and abuse. But the other piece is my mindset is, if we're running a deficit, we should be sending no money overseas, no charity money overseas. Not that I'm heartless, not that I'm don't think we should ever help out an ally or something like that. But the thing is if we're running a deficit, we should not be sending money over there. If we have homeless veterans out in the street, we should not be sending money overseas. We should be taking care of our problems first, and then we can help other people out if we have extra money or the ability to do so. We should be taking care of ourselves first. That's not selfish to say that. Every other country in the world does it. Why wouldn't we do that?
Completely agree.
I think there are a lot of people who are feeling that way right now. Seems like Jimmy says, Representative Tim Burchett said he believes Elon Musk and Doge was shut down because they were getting too close to exposing corrupt officials in both parties, get rich off dark money from NGOs. Thoughts?
Yeah,
No.
that's kind of exactly what I was getting to.
On
Because
to
they were hitting home. Yep, they were getting close. I'm like, no, we're not want to do it. You're getting too close to home.
Well, if you haven't seen the Elon, one of the, I don't remember what it was probably in springtime, the Elon Musk interview with Joe Rogan. He really says that, you know, they're gonna kill me if I go too far. Like, they're gonna actually come and kill me if I do too much. And I think that's real. You know, I think that's like, you know, there's so much going on. It's so the corruption is so bad. Um, that's more of a case to keep the Doge going. That's more of a case, like, you got to fight that. Like, bad news doesn't get better with time. It's not going to just heal itself. Like, it's not just going to go away. Now you just allowed it to continue to leak, you know, and it's just it doesn't make any sense to me.
I saw an X user who said that it failed because the swamp doesn't investigate itself. Does that?
Well, that's you know, that's you know, that's it too. You know, the swamp is not gonna, you know, cut their own budget. They're not gonna find, you know, efficiencies on their own. They're not, you know, they're not using Lean Six Sigma by any means. So, you know, they're not gonna do it. That's why the original system was a failure. And so Elon brings in these, you know, tech savvy kids or whatever that come in and figure out these things and look at it with an outside eye and kind of, you know, come into it and look at it from, you know, first time they've ever seen it, looking at their budget, running down the list. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? You know, that's exactly what you needed to do. And you know, that's why they were, you know, they found $200 billion, you know, in cuts. I mean, they would have paid for, if they would have made the cuts, they pay for themselves. You know, they pay for their office to keep, you know, it's gonna, and they could kept going, obviously. So, you know, doesn't make any sense to me. They should have kept them open.
I agree.
Well, see, it's just easy conversations. It's so like cordial and like, I love it. You guys are the best. Like, we can talk about all these things and, you know, like, in a respectful, like, just put it all out there. I love it. Modeling how to have open dialogue and conversations. It's great.
Well, I mean, for the most part, you know, if you break it down, like a Democrat to a Republican or whatever, and I'm not talking about the far ends of the spectrum, but if you're talking like a you know, middle of the road on both sides or whatever, we both want the same solutions. We just, you know, have a different, you know, one kind of has a more of a reactive response to it, and one is more proactive. And so, you know, the conservative side is more kind of a more proactive. They want to cut it off before it ever happens. Democrats a lot of times want to solve it after it's happened. And so that's the big difference. We want the same solution for the most part. Now, I'm not talking about the far right, the far left or whatever, but you know, kind of in the middle of the road, average person, you know, they're just working, putting their kids through college, whatever the case may be. We all pretty much want the same solution. We just have a different way of getting there.
I would agree with you, but I'm gonna have to push back just a little bit. As far as an individual, as a Democrat, you're right. Their family, they want their kids to be taken care of, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the party as a whole, the Democrats, I don't see them as wanting the same thing as conservatives want, even the moderates. I don't see that. And the reason why I say that is because, like, right now they're fighting for Trade de Agua, they're fighting for MS-13, they're fighting for people that came into our country illegally, and they're not fighting for their constituents. They're actually holding hearings in LA about how to stop President Trump for apprehending these criminals on the streets of America in Illinois and et cetera. Why would they do that? I don't ever recall Republicans getting on an airplane, going to another country, fighting for a person who was trafficking people. That is mind blowing. But at a personal level, I think people are people and they want to take care of their families. But as a whole, I don't see the Democrat Party the same thing.
Right. Well, to your credit too, like I agree with that for the most part. But the thing is like most Democrats are afraid of the extreme far left. They are afraid of them. They're afraid because they will get canceled.
Like
If
Chuck
they don't
Schumer.
toe the line on every single thing, they will get canceled too. So I don't think they actually buy into everything that they're going with. They're just afraid. They're honestly afraid. That's the way it is. They don't want to get canceled. They don't want to get canceled on social media. They don't want people to call their business, get their business shut down, get them fired at work, because that's exactly what will happen. And
But the
so
thing is, I'm sorry, but the thing is, they already are getting canceled. Chuck Schumer, he's
Right.
about to get canceled by AOC.
Yeah.
They came out, she went on a tour with Bernie Sanders and said, no, we're not trying to primary him. That is made up story. And then after all of that, they're still going to primary him. So
100%.
because
Yeah.
he's part of the old guard. They want to
Yeah.
get rid of all of them. They want people like Mondami to come in and take over the party, which is my personal opinion, is a very, very bad place to be.
Well, I think, Trump is a master at this. I think, Trump is far smarter than Mamdani is. Like his meeting at the White House or whatever, like this is not like he knows how to deal with people on the far left, far right. He knows how to deal with people all walks of life or whatever. And nobody expected the meeting to go the way that it did. But the thing is Trump is a master at this stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's a master at making deals and stuff like that. He's not going to make a deal with every single person, but he used a little bit of what we talked about before. Like he didn't come at him or whatever. He brought up that, hey, we agree on some stuff or whatever.
Mhm.
He came at him in a different way than a lot of us expected. But that's Trump is brilliant on a lot of things like that. And I think he's the mayor of the largest city in America now.
Yeah.
You cannot, what are you going to do?
Well-
You have to try and bring him into the fold. You have to try and try and figure out some ways that you can work with this dude, because he's controlling the largest city in America. He's there. He's not going anywhere.
If I can add on to that, remember President Trump set foot in North Korea after calling him Rocket Man, Little Rocket Man.
Yeah.
He called Mondami a communist. He said all these things, but at the end of the day, it's President Trump's goal to try to get along and work with these people. Look, he's there. You're right. He's there. He's the mayor of the largest city, one of the largest cities in the world. So he's going to be there. So President Trump, he has to try to get along. Same thing when Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, when they had an impeachment against him in the first term, he was still trying to sit down with them to work on the infrastructure.
Yeah.
While an active impeachment is going on, he's still trying to do that. So that says a lot about his character as well.
Yeah, he's not afraid, and he's going to try and do what's best for the country. The only one that I don't really like is Jelani coming to the White House. I don't like that. Other than that, like Mamdani, he should try and, again, he controls a very large city, and New York City is Trump City, so it's just it only makes sense to try and find some common ground, to try and make New York City better, and to not let it go to the far left extreme, because I just I
So you
think
don't think Mondami is the far left extreme?
no, I think he is.
Oh,
but the
okay.
thing is, I think that what Mamdani is gonna come to find that a lot of the things that he said on the campaign trail are impossible. He's not going to be able to do everything that he said. He's not going to bring rent prices down in New York. He's not going to do a stay on he's not going to put every landlord in New York City out of business. That's not going to happen. It's impossible. So he's not going to make all these different things free or whatever. He may try or whatever, but those things are just not possible in America. It's like changing the healthcare system. When liberals talk about going to a system like Canada or something like that, we have a multi-trillion-dollar system in place. These companies are not just going to walk away and say, oh yeah, okay, we're going to make less money and we're just going to do this system like Canada. It doesn't work that way. They have so much money. They are so invested in so many different things. You are never going to change that system. You are never we have to the best way to do it is to do it where there's competition, to try and bring prices down. That's the way you have to try and fix our system. It's never going to change, and we are never going to be like Canada. It'll never work that way.
And most definitely the government paying for everyone's health care is not a solution either.
Nope.
It's really not.
It's not better. Ask Canadians. It is not better there. Ask people from the UK. It is not better there. And so, when we're talking about that, it's never going to change. So you're wasting your time thinking that it's ever going to go to be something like Canada. You're going to make things worse than they already are, which we saw with Obamacare. A lot of people's healthcare went up. And so, the thing is like competition is the way you bring prices down. I think that's the best way. Capping costs is another way. We've seen, and that should be kind of a bipartisan thing. President Trump tried to do the insulin thing or whatever, and then Joe Biden canceled it, and then tried to claim that he did or whatever. But he did it in a little bit different way. But the thing is like, capping costs, it should be something that we should have common ground on, right? We don't want people being thrown out on the streets or not being able to afford their rent or can't put food on the table because their insulin's too high. Like that should be something that we could all agree on.
Well, I think it's interesting that Mom Donnie has already asked for money like 3 times now. Right? Like it's just, I don't know.
I don't need your money, but I need your money now.
I need it. Yeah, I said that, but I'm like, oh no, it's so cringy. Yeah. But yeah, I was actually curious, I was surprised to see how their meeting went and surprised that people are upset about Mom Donnie going to the White House and like talking. You have
people. Yeah, I'm sorry. You have people on the right that were upset because President Trump was talking to Madonna. Again, he set foot in North Korea. Mm-hmm. Hello. Should we just start fighting with one another? Or should we try to find common ground, even though we disagree with each other on everything? Should we try to find something? And that's what President Trump is trying to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, what do you want if Mom Donnie is going to make these things happen, supposedly? Same on both sides, right? It's like, it would make sense for them to sit down and talk and see where things are at and hopefully try to get somewhere with whatever the goals are. So, yeah, I think it's ridiculous, again, to cancel people for like, I don't know, what do you want them to do? So, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, next up, there was some possible breaking news about Kash Patel. I'm going to play a little video clip. Well, actually, there's a couple, but.
MS Now has just learned that FBI Director Kash Patel may be out of a job in the coming months. 3 people with knowledge of the situation say President Trump and his top aides have grown tired of Patel and the unflattering headlines he's been generating recently, including using a government jet to visit his girlfriend and enlisting a SWAT team as her security detail.
So there was that. But then there was this, where Caroline Leavitt is saying that it's completely made up. In fact, when this fake news was published, I was in the Oval Office where President Trump was meeting with his law enforcement team, including Kash Patel. I read the headline to the president and he laughed. He said, "What? That's totally false. Come on, Kash, let's take a picture to show him you're doing a great job. Do not believe the fake news." What do you guys think is going on here? Is there trouble in paradise?
Well, I would say that, I'm sorry, I would say the airplane that they're referring to, Congress forced him to use that airplane when he's going somewhere. And that happened with Christopher Wray. They designated an airplane for the FBI director to use. And now they're complaining that the FBI director is using that plane. So I have a hard time believing anything that the Democrats say. And I like to refer to them as Democrats because I can't find anything that they do that's positive, but especially when they lie about the most common basic things. For example, a man being a woman because he puts on a dress. We can have our different opinion about it, but reality says it's still a man. When they lie to us just about that, I have a hard time believing them on anything. And of course, they want us to believe that Kash Patel is doing a terrible job. Now, do I have some issues myself personally with Kash Patel? A little. I have some with Pam Bondi as well. And the reason being because we have these indictments that have taken place, but nothing has come to surface. James Comey, Letitia James just pretty much got off on a technicality. And what is happening? We have these, what is it? The seditious six now. What is going on? Are they being investigated? I guess Pete Hegseth is the only one that's going to do something, but I don't know if that's going to pan out either. But I don't believe anything that they're saying about Kash Patel. I think for the most part, maybe, just maybe, I'm hoping in the background that they're doing a lot more than what we are seeing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't speak to how President Trump feels about him, but the thing that we've asked Kash Patel to do is far more difficult than what we've asked Pam Bondi to do. Now, her job is tough too, but the thing is like we've asked Kash Patel to completely reform the FBI while running down all these cases, and the FBI isn't this huge organization. I think, don't quote me on this. I want to say it's like. Isn't it like 18,000 agents or something like that out in the field? Something like that. It may be 30. But the thing is like, how do you completely reform that? You have agents out in the field. You have people running cases. You have people working for years on cases. We've asked them to completely reform that organization and run down all these cases. It's really an impossible task that we've asked them to do. And that's why bringing Bongino in there was, I think that showed what President Trump felt about it, because we asked him to do a very tough task. I don't have any issue with the things that Kash Patel are. I have heartache with the things that Pam Bondi is doing because she has a lot more resources at her disposal. She has these IGs. She can direct people to do things in these different organizations. So I'm a lot more frustrated with her than I am with Kash Patel. I don't believe that Kash Patel is on his way out. I believe that if you're loyal to President Trump, you're doing the job that you're supposed to be doing. I don't think that he'll turn his back on him. And I believe that Kash Patel, for the most part, is doing the job that we've put him in place to do. It's just we asked him to do a really, really tough job.
Well, I think to add to that, I think he kind of put himself on that position too, right? He said that he's going to go in, he's going to pretty much wipe the FBI out. We expected him to do it. Bring back men and women that they fired during COVID. Bring back men and women that they fired because they found out that they were supporting President Trump. I mean, the FBI is supposed to be right down the middle. They're not supposed to pick a side, but they nonetheless, Biden's administration, they were firing people when they found out. So yeah. I think, but you're absolutely right. I can't take anything away from what you're saying, because he has a tough job. You're talking about thousands of people. And I think it was upward between 18 and 30,000 people. I think you're right on that. But so all of these people have been there for years. A lot of these people have their mindset. They believe things should run a certain way. So they're going to get pushed back on that. They're not going to share everything right off the box. And then, for example, they came out with these burn bags. I mean, who told them about the burn bags? Why were the burn bags in the room and not burned in the first place? So I think, and what has become of that? Because I remember Dan Bongino talking about it.
They put it in the comments there that it employs 37,000 people. So I was right, and 13,700 special agents according to Randy. So we're in the ballpark. I think that's probably about right. The thing is like, a lot of these investigations are years long. We're talking about undercover agents and stuff like that. It takes years for these investigations. So these guys are already out there embedded in the field and stuff like that. How do you reform all that? How do you run all these things out? How do you look into everything that they've got going on? It's really tough. And so I just, the other part that we're talking about, he did say that on day one he was going to walk in there and shutter it, right? Maybe he shouldn't have said that. Yeah. Maybe he should have said, hey, I'm going to come in there, and flip tables over. I'm going to make sure that, they're doing the right thing. I'm going to reform this agency. He should have said something like that instead of saying that you were going to shutter it on day one if you didn't have the intention of doing that. Messaging is important, and people are tired of being lied to. People are tired. If you say you're going to do something, you need to do it. And Mamdani's about to find out about that, because he's not going to do a lot of the things that he said he's going to do, and he's going to get a lot of backlash for that. And hey, that's on you, dude. You cannot say these things and not mean it. So, and I'm glad that he's not going to do all the things that he said he's going to do, because it would absolutely destroy that city. But,
Escape from New York.
Yeah.
That's what I did. That's the chapter of my life right now.
Angela did escape.
Yeah. Well, I think if I could ask Cash Patel a question, why can't you take 100 agents and put them on the task of all these people that have done this corruption throughout the years that we know, that we've seen them do it? Adam Schiff, he lied. Comey, Comey's still in trouble. Letitia James, them, just starting with them. But there's so many others. Nancy Pelosi should be investigated for the insider trading. All of this, he can assign 100 agents to get on top of all of the key things. Start with one person, then go to the next. Because if they don't, for example, like the Seditious Six, if they allow them to get away with what they did, I think our republic is on the verge of just completely crumbling.
Well, I think another thing that you're about to see is how defunct the system is, right? You're going to see Mark Kelly immediately face scrutiny. Why? Because he falls under the UCMJ. He's still an officer in the military. He's still a commissioned officer in the military. And so the UCMJ is going to apply to him. He's going to have to face military justice for the things that he did. Now, these other senators or whatever, or the other, like all the rest of the Seditious Six or whatever, it's going to be a longer process, and they may not even be punished. Hopefully they at least get they whatever, they censure him or something like that, but the thing is that probably nothing will happen to him. But Mark Kelly, he's going to face immediate scrutiny because he falls under the UCMJ. It's a completely different system, and he's still, people who are not familiar with the military or whatever, when you're a military officer, you're a military officer for life. And so all that stuff applies to him. And I'm a military retiree. I was enlisted. However, there are still rules that apply to me that, because I'm a retiree or whatever, like I cannot just do whatever it is, I cannot, commit sedition without, and just expect to get away with it. Hey, Kevin.
Look who's joining the party.
What's up? I was able to beat New York traffic in order to get here. I left Manhattan a short time ago, 2.5 days, and I have made it. I finally made it home without killing someone on the Cross Bronx Expressway, which is good. Look, holiday weekend, rain, rush hour, me behind the wheel, disaster. How's everyone doing?
I mean, we're good. We were just talking about New York's, and here you come. Bobby says hi, Kevin.
What's up, Bobby?
Thank you for
First off, shout out to my lead-in here, Will Johnson.
I know.
Every
Will
day,
awesome.
Every day before the world gets to see this mug, they get to see that beautiful face.
Yeah,
so,
all on LFA TV.
Thank you, Will, by the way, for filling in last minute because I'm an idiot and forgot it was Tuesday.
No, you're good. As soon as you told me the name, and I was like, I know this name, and I copied her name. And I put it in X. I said, oh yeah, I'll do it. I got you. I was telling her before you came on, I was seeing her videos all the time during the 2024 election. Then all of a sudden she just dropped off. And I'm like, what happened? And then you sent me her name and I said, oh yeah.
Yeah. Plus
opportunity to talk to her.
She's now the coolest person on the internet because now it's cool to hate Ben Shapiro. So I'm only kidding. No,
but it's funny. Why is Ben Shapiro so mad at me for dancing on a cruise ship?
I think he's got a thing for you.
I'm just like, why did it trigger him so? To your points earlier, Jay and Will saying like, you always seem happy, like what you're not angry, but like other people get angry seeing me happy and having fun.
What was the issue? I didn't even hear about it.
Oh, it was the whole like when she did like when she was making 4 or 5 videos an hour. 41, no kids, no responsibility, how do you have fun? And Shapiro was like, this woman is miserable. And I'm like, look, man, I am a firm believer, have as many kids as humanly possible, because if you don't, they'll be, everywhere it's going to look like Dearborn. But, if you don't want that, then don't do it, have a partay. Plus now, because Angela and I don't have kids, now we can both hang out at Santos Claus in D.C. next week.
Oh, my God. Are you going?
Yeah, damn right I'm going.
I'm going to try to make it happen. I really want to.
You better. I know you're down there in the land of the sun, but you've got to come up here and freeze your asses off on the Potomac with us.
At least I hung on to some coats still, so that's good. At least
I'll bring you one. I got a big fur coat that I found that fits me now. It is the gaudy. I don't know. I want to go back in time to whenever I bought this jacket, like 7-8 years ago. I want to go back in time, find me, and beat the shit out of me for ever purchasing it. You know what? I'll be back. I'm gonna get it.
You just got here, Kevin. You just got here.
It's show and tell.
I do like that. I'll take it. Kate says Ben loves you and he can't let go of you being single. That's funny. Van Damme kicking to the music and Ben gets mad. I think you're referencing. So I just did my whatever. I do fitness classes, and I went out this past weekend and we saw some live music, and I was trying to show my friend these kicks that we were doing in our cardio kickboxing class. So that's the latest video that people either love or I think most people are enjoying it. It's just me having fun, again. Oh my gosh. Ooh, that looks nice.
It's ghastly.
I like it. How long have you had that?
Like 10 years.
Where did you get it?
I think I got it at Century 21. It's like the poor person's TJ Maxx for the people around the country.
Does Century 21 still exist? Because I remember they closed down in New York, but then I thought maybe they came back. I don't know.
I think it's still open.
That's like the jacket. I would picture a mobster sitting out the spot or whatever. They're out there freezing or whatever. The soldiers are out there, and then the mobsters all come in or whatever. But they're all bundled up in their thick.
I'm just imagining you guys remember the meme, the original meme of Scumbag Steve back in the day with
No.
It's incredible. It's incredible for all the people out there that want to say I don't have a neck. Here's your screenshot.
He's calling it your Reality Bites coat. I don't know. I love that movie so much, by the way. That's such a great movie. All right. So you got to do a little round robin, Kevin, on the topics we talked about so you can weigh in. First of all, what are your Thanksgiving plans?
I'll be roaming around. I gotta take that. It's too damn hot.
I was wondering when that was gonna come off.
I have family everywhere. My parents are divorced, so I've been bouncing around holidays most of my life. So I'll be hitting up cousins. My aunt's doing something. So Thanksgiving is probably my favorite holiday because it's the one that requires the least amount of work. I don't got to do gifts and think about things. I don't have to pretend to hide Easter eggs, and I don't have to do any of that stuff. So Thanksgiving, I just sit down and drink and eat, and it's a good time.
Do you cook at all, or you don't have to?
Yes, I have. I will not be this year. Although there's a tradition in my family because every woman in my family thinks that they are the best cook of everyone in the family. So if I ever cook a holiday meal, I often will caution tape my kitchen. And because look, if you want to cook, go ahead. But if I'm cooking, get the hell out of my kitchen. I'm not doing that. I'm not playing that stupid game. Don't tell me the potatoes are done. They're not done yet. I'm not done. You're burning the cutlets. I don't do that. If you want to cook, you cook. If not, sit down, shut up. Plus, I don't do turkey. I like duck better.
Oh.
Turkey kind of sucks. It's very boring. So I go duck, and then for Christmas I do beef Wellington instead of the honey glazed ham. So I like to, because I actually love to cook. I always have. I didn't get this size by accident, but this isn't all Cheerios. But no, I love to cook, so it's always a good time.
Nice.
If you ever come back to our communist shithole, we'll go out to dinner.
That's nice. I will be back. I don't know when exactly, although, you know, I might see you in DC. So that's a possibility. But I still have a whole apartment in New York that I'm subletting. So at some point, I got to get my stuff there. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'll definitely be back.
Is anyone in it? Because I get drunk in the city all the time, and I could really use a place to crash.
I'm sorry. Yes, I can't afford 2 apartments, so someone is subletting it. Yeah.
Wait, you mean you're not like what the world thinks of New York apartments, where you can be the people on Friends and apparently have 2 apartments in the West Village where nobody has a job?
Yeah, I know. I hate to burst people's bubble on that, but no.
Somebody did I saw a thing on TikTok the other day that said that Joey and Chandler's apartment on Friends would cost like $7,500 a month now, which probably isn't going to work for one guy who doesn't have a job and the other guy, you can't name what he does for a living.
Yeah, wasn't based in reality for sure. I mean, all those shows, there was like Girls, there's like a lot of those New York shows that are, you know.
Wait, you mean Carrie Bradshaw doesn't get to
Sex
she doesn't get to go to New York Fashion Week because she writes a 300-word column in a newspaper nobody's ever heard of?
I'm sorry to let you down. Yeah.
It's all right. She was always the ugly one anyway.
Well, so we were also talking about, we showed some fun video of, you know, Trump's sense of humor around pardoning the turkeys with Chuck and Nancy. I don't know if you caught that earlier.
Yeah.
And talking about DOGE being disbanded and just.
By the way, speaking of the turkey pardon, did you hear that pardon was overturned by a federal judge in Chicago?
You're talking about the one today.
The one today, yeah, the turkey pardon today that has already been overturned by a Chicago federal court judge. So that turkey is now dead.
Sounds about right.
Oh man.
And that'll be the clip from this show.
Yep. Okay. Well, I'm so glad you were here to
I'll be honest with you, if some Democrat judge had overturned that pardon in like a joke tweet, I wouldn't even be mad at them. Like that's actually hilarious. Like, but
maybe they're watching and they'll do it for us.
I'll put in a call.
All right. Any thoughts you want to share on DOGE being disbanded? Was it successful?
Well, you know, whether it was disbanded or not, I mean, Reuters said it was. The DOGE people said it wasn't. We haven't heard from them in a while, except when their 22-year-olds are getting the shit beat out of them on the streets of DC. But you know what? I think it really sparked the conversation of the nonsense, you know? And I think that once you open that can of worms, it really can't go away. You know, nobody knew about $20 million to Iraqi Sesame Street before DOGE. Nobody really talked about the idea of, everybody knew that, like, wait a minute, come on. Like, we can't really spend $5 trillion a year. It's not even a real number. But then they started to really boil it down and get into it. Just the grotesque mismanagement. Even if you take the like nefarious acts and the money funneling and the money laundering out of it, just the bloat alone. Even if nobody's doing anything wrong or illegal, just the fact that some of these things have gotten so damn big, I think DOGE really, really highlighted that, and I think it's going to be something that people talk about all the time in our local towns. There was a budget increase, and someone said they needed to DOGE the county, and I was like, "Are they hiring? Because I will do that."
Well, the problem that I have is like, you know, when they're talking about these budget cuts or whatever, or, you know, in the past or whatever, they'll be talking about like $50 million and they'll be like, oh, well, that's just a drop in the bucket. That's nothing in terms of like the complete. But if you're like saying like $50 million is nothing, I mean, just think, you know, how defunct that is. Like that is 50 million of our tax-paying dollars. Like BS, that is nothing. Yeah.
But there's also just like the feeling behind it. Like, I think that if you Like, yeah, $20 million for Iraqi Sesame Street is nothing compared to the federal budget. You're right. But you know what? I guarantee you could find $20 million worth of poor people in the inner city who have an IQ of 130 who might actually benefit from going to college and becoming an engineer. That I would much rather that if you're dead set on spending that money, I would much rather that go to some girl living in Brentwood, New York, or who's old man's in jail and father's on the pipe, and mom's on the pipe, and just no chance to come up. I would much rather, if we were 37 trillion in debt and everyone in America wasn't retarded and we didn't have foreign wars all over the place, I don't think people would care so much. But why is any money going towards Iraqi Sesame Street? And they can't even have Sesame Street in Iraq because Bert and Ernie are gay. So, that's not going to fly. Everyone knows. I mean, they were, separate beds, but, bathtub.
Well, there are buildings on Sesame Street. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but that's it. There is. It was more of a feeling than I think a practicality behind the whole thing. Like when you heard Trump at the State of the Union say we were given like $7 million for gender equality in Lesotho, and then in the greatest moment of all time, nobody knows where that is. Everyone had to Google it afterwards. I think that it was more of a feeling that the only thing our government can agree upon is to spend money on other people. And it doesn't really matter where that other person is, whether it is, Ukraine, or the fact that we give $9 billion a year to North Korea not to bomb us, or whether it's all the Israel money or the UK. The DOD, the Department of Defense, is 4% of Germany's entire GDP. Meanwhile, you got like zombified humans living on the street in Kensington, Philadelphia. I'm not saying we can fix that. I'm saying that we should take at least some of that money, some of the $9 billion we give to Kim Jong-un not to kill us all, and try. Right. And not do it through NGOs, not make Gavin Newsom's friends richer. Like, actually come on. If you took the $7 million we gave to Lesotho for gender equality and just bought all of those junkies Suboxone, their lives would be instantly better. Yeah. And it's a feeling rather than a practicality behind it all.
I think that's where DOGE came in by stopping a lot of it, but they didn't want it to stop because if you're going to stop the money from going out, like you're saying, how are these people going to get life-saving medication in other countries? That's what they were saying. That's how they were pushing it. Did we lose Kevin?
Yeah, I think he took himself off, but he's back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You never know what's going to happen with Kevin.
Sorry, no, I don't know if you guys, was there an echo? Because my headphones weren't connecting.
Oh, you were fine.
Oh,
okay. No, you were fine there.
My headset wasn't in. I thought I was echoing. Sorry.
No, but what I was saying is that every time they would find money, for example, if we can stop all this money from going to other countries, I think personally, we should cut off every single dime going outside of the country until we can fix this country. Now, if other countries need emergency aid, okay, I'm with that. But we need to cut it off. And I mean everywhere. I'm a strong believer. I support Israel, but we need to cut off the funding for right now because we have too much going on here. And the problem is that the Democrats, they don't want the funding to go out because from what I see, they found out a way how to funnel the money back to them. The same thing with the healthcare. They keep screaming, saying that these rural hospitals, they need more funding. They need more funding. Well, come to find out that they're screaming more funding for these rural hospitals because what happens, they get the money after the illegals go in there, and then the federal government pays them, and then they turn around and give money to the DNC. Well, we're going to donate to the DNC. It is money laundering.
Yeah, and to be fair too, it's not just Democrats; it's Warhawk Republicans too.
That's true.
That's true. Also, trying to get this money going out or whatever and keep it rolling. But to your point too, like we can't even secure all the schools in America? Why can't we harden the security of schools in America before we're worrying about security of some other country? Why can't we agree that that's something, we want kids to be safe to school. We don't want school shooters and stuff like that. Why don't we harden school security? Why don't we provide lunches for kids? A lot of those kids, school is the safest place they go all day long. I'm all for it. I don't care if a rich kid gets away with getting a free lunch and doesn't deserve it, because there's a ton of poor kids where that's probably going to be the best meal that they get all day long. So that's something that, why aren't we spending money in those places? That's something that we could probably all agree upon.
And what's so interesting is that I think that is one of the arguments in the sort of populism of the right and populism of the left that destroys the sort of neoliberal, neoconservative order of things, where it's like, I'm not saying we can't do this, but we should be doing this first. Like, every time I hear this story, it breaks my heart that some teacher in Arkansas has to buy notebooks for their kids in class, and they're already making $35,000 a year. They're not. I mean, not like here on Long Island where most teachers are making $2.5 a year. But I'm like, really, we can't. The government can't just go to Staples and just buy all the notebooks and have like Will was talking about emergency aid. Look, there's a landslide in Japan or an earthquake, a tsunami somewhere, a tornado, okay. I don't want people, when I saw it took them 9 days to get water to the Superdome, I'm like, how is there not just a hangar somewhere full of Poland Spring bottles that when there's a hurricane, somebody just says, go. No, we got to ask this one. We got to go through this. We got to go through that. But with the foreign aid, if there was emergency stuff, like Haiti has those hurricanes every year and they can never seem to get out of their own way. If we would drop it off actual medical stuff, I don't think most Americans would really care if we had the rest figured out. We're the richest country in the world. We should be able to help people. If there's a famine going on in Somalia, we should be able to drop off a few bags of rice. But, I think that most people sit there and go, I'm starving. I'm dying. My kids can't eat. But when all this happens, it is unanimous. And I am so sick and tired of hearing, oh, well, that's how we project power around the world. No, you project power by being powerful. Hey, North Korea, we're going to stop paying you to not bomb us. You're not going to bomb us because if you do, we're going to ram a cruise missile right up Kim's fat ass, wherever he is. How does that sound? That's power. Not paying, beating the shit out of the bully in the schoolyard is power. Not giving him your money so he doesn't beat you up. And I feel like there's no point in America being a superpower if we're just going to bribe, I want to be clear, shitholes to what? Not import their terrorists here? How about this, Libya? We leave Gaddafi in power, and if you keep fucking around, we kill him.
Yeah.
That seems fair to me.
Yeah, and things got worse in a lot of respects, too, in Libya. The slave trade exploded there after they got rid of Gaddafi, too. But
you can watch it. You can watch slave auctions on BitChute right now, live in Tripoli.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. And the other thing too is I heard the other day that the money is still going out to the Taliban too. The 50 million, 40 million a week or whatever. What are we doing? Why can't we cut that money off? Everybody's pretty much against it. Why in the hell would you be for that? I just don't get it.
I love that the neocons now, particularly with the Ukraine funding, they're just openly saying, guys, we're not giving them money. We're giving them old weapons, and then we're paying for new ones. And it's like, did you just say that?
Right.
Out loud? Wait, so it's just to fund Raytheon. It's just so the people who work at Boeing can figure out, even when Trump, there's a new F-47 plane or some shit that it costs $3 billion a plane. Planes, we're still doing that? That seems like he's building I don't know, a really fast choo-choo train. Like, I think we've moved past that. Like, a really fast bicycle. And to me, when they added 150 billion to the Pentagon budget, I was like, how are we justifying this? I don't care who did it. We are not at war. The Pentagon budget should go down. And they're going to use the same sort of language. Oh, you want to cut off raises to the troops? No. I think that every one of those soldiers should get 100% raise, and Raytheon should get nothing. When it's time for war, make bullets. When it's not, go back to making whatever the hell you made before the war started, like Ford did. During World War II, Ford made a shitload of money making tanks. And then the war ended, and they started making cars again. So there's no reason why Raytheon can't make, George Foreman grills or whatever the hell they're doing. Like, there's a way to do it, and they just won't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other problem is too, is like especially with the DOD, they'll continue to make stuff that we don't need, right? They'll continue to make tanks that aren't requested or whatever, just because that's what they always did or whatever. They just keep requesting year after year after year. So they don't get their budget cut and they just keep it rolling or whatever. And it pumps money into the community. Yeah. But you're buying equipment that you don't need. And the other part is too, is like at the user level in the military, a lot of times what will happen is like, say I was on helicopters or whatever. We had a modification that we were getting installed on our aircraft. Well, we didn't actually want the modification they were giving them. We wanted something that was cheaper and it was better. But we couldn't get it changed. They were like, nope, this is what you're getting. This is what the modification that you're getting. So we get this modification on our helicopter, and within a month, all of them were broke. Every single one that they installed. And the contractor even said, hey, I could put this one on your helicopter or whatever, but this is the one that they rammed through or whatever, the more expensive one, and it was broke within several months or whatever. And it's just, it doesn't make any sense. Like, there's no common sense injected. Now, I don't know what went on behind the scenes or if it was nefarious or anything like that, but, we should be able to take a look at these things, there should be some system where at the command level, at the unit level or whatever, is they say, hey, we don't want this, we maybe want this, or don't send us this because we don't need these things. There should be some system in place where they actually take a look at that and where they listen to the people that are on the ground.
Well, I think the main reason why a lot of these, like, for example, your helicopter receiving these parts, because both sides, Republicans and Democrats, they stand to gain. Because if Raytheon or somebody, BlackRock, are putting a product out there, and then these politicians gain from it. So they make sure that particular part is being pushed because someone's going to make money on the other end of it. They don't care if it's going to break. Yeah, that's not their concern. Their concern is how much money am I going to make because I allowed this product to get put in place for these helicopters. And it's not just helicopters. They've done this with countless things. The same thing with healthcare. And I believe that the only reason why the Democrats are acting like they're fighting for healthcare, they're not fighting for it because they're so concerned about the health of the American people. They could care less about us. They're doing it because of the bottom line. How much money can we funnel through the healthcare system? Obamacare was exactly that mechanism. And when they passed it, they were like, yes, our pocketbooks are about to be full. And that happened all of these years. And now that is getting ready to expire. They're all out there marching. They're all out there complaining, saying that the Republicans need to save our endless money laundering. And it needs to come to an end. But that's what's happening. The same thing. It's a vicious cycle in the federal government.
I mean, the Affordable Care Act is so unaffordable that they had to pay people to buy it.
Right. Yeah. And the thing is, they rammed it through without Republican support. So they rammed it. They set the parameters. They set the expiration on it. They didn't have any Republican support, and now they're complaining that Republicans are the problem with the whole system. No, this is your system. Yeah. You pushed it through. The Republicans didn't have anything to do with it, and now you're blaming them when it's going awry or whatever. It needs to go away.
Well, there's a lot of common shared frustration. So Kevin, a lot of the same things that points you've been making are similar to ones that we were also saying earlier. I think a lot of Americans are frustrated with similar things. And, sick of being lied to. That was another great point that came up earlier. So the more that we can kind of expose or raise awareness about these things, the better, get them out there. Cade said DOGE should have stayed open the way it was, but I think DOGE will be incorporated into multiple agencies from what I hear. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. And if you look at somebody like, and look, I want to be clear, I am 100% biased on this because I owe him most of my career. Lee Zeldin, we're seeing him pull back so much money from the EPA that went out right before the Biden administration ended. And I say this all the time about Ambassador Zeldin. If you want an objective take on him, my show is not the one to watch. I would crawl over broken glass for that man for what he did for me. But he's doing a great job. And I wish he would have done it as governor of New York, especially because he would have had a really handsome policy advisor. Just saying.
I agree.
It's very handsome, but no, it's look, I think that that's why I said that DOGE is more of an idea now than an actual secondary policy, because that's exactly so. DOGE didn't actually do anything. DOGE you can't just make a government agency. What they were doing is they were pointing out the waste, the fraud, and the abuse that go on in these other agencies, whether it's with the SNAP program, which goes to the Department of Agriculture, or it's that $2 billion that got funneled to Stacey Abrams through the EPA for some reason. They were going through and basically looking at the books as like a third-party accounting firm almost. And then the individual departments were the ones making those sorts of cuts. So I think DOGE as an idea will be around forever because, like I said, they didn't actually have the ability to cut anything. Like they couldn't walk into the FBI and say, you guys are using too many highlighters. But we got to pull back some of the stationery. But I think the idea will last longer than the program.
All right. And finally, the last question for you, Kevin, is do you think that Kash Patel is going to get fired?
No.
Because there's speculation on this,
Yeah.
supposedly breaking news. And then Carolyn Levitt said, what? And
yeah. Well, the Krasensteins reported it, so it's not true. I know they've been a guest on this show, and I actually I still don't think that there's two of them. I still think there's only one.
I did only interview one. I've only interviewed Brian. So. Because
there only is one. Hello, everyone knows there's only one Krasenstein.
I can't confirm or deny. I don't know.
Why can't Candace Owens look into that shit? Instead, she's looking into whether or not Brigitte Macron's got a wang. But by the way, I wonder, has she found it yet? Or
maybe she should do a grab test.
Yeah, we're just gonna let that look. Don't get me wrong, Brigitte Macron, really ugly, but that doesn't mean she's a guy. No, I don't think Kash is going anywhere. Look, and there's a lot of frustration, and I know I watch Will's show, so I know there's a lot of frustration with people like Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. Bongino, whether it's Epstein, whether it's the arrests, whether it's what seems to be the lack of movement in a lot of these agencies. And I tell people all the time, you got a right to be mad, 1,000%. But you got to remember something. Everyone that works at these agencies, from the secretaries to the agents to the lawyers, probably hate the people who are in charge and doing everything imaginable to stifle them at every waking opportunity. Because the people who have been hired in these agencies for the last 20, 25 years all came out of Dartmouth and all came out of Yale and all came out of Harvard and Georgetown and American University. And they probably hate the fact that they have to take orders from Kash Patel. So there was a story today, I think, about a DOJ official that was like doxing federal agents. What? Because these people are still, think about this. Imagine if you worked at a place for 19 years and it was done one way for all 19 years. And then a new boss comes in and they're going to do everything differently. Doesn't matter where you work. If you work in a damn supermarket, you're going to be pissed off. So I think that that's a lot of the rot inside of these agencies that is going to take multiple election cycles to fix.
Well, yeah, there has been a lot of talk tonight that, things don't just happen overnight. Things take time.
Well, yeah, and look, I think that we live in an our information is warp speed right now, and we're operating under ways and laws, ways and procedures that were created when people wrote with feathers. So I think that, look, grand jury, if they have the goods on somebody right now, they have them dead to rights, they have them on camera killing somebody, they're not going to be sentenced for 4 years. That's just the way and I don't like it, but that's the way the system is. So everyone was like, there's been no arrests, there's been no indictments. And then what happened? They rushed the Comey indictment, they fucked up the paperwork, and then it got dismissed because of the public pressure. Now, I like public pressure. It's what I do for a living. But I think that most people online have absolutely no idea how the legal system actually works. They think that, there's a crime at the beginning of the episode, and then Chris Maloney and Mariska Hargitay spend 45 minutes figuring it out. And then at the end, Casey Novak puts them in jail. Like, that's not how this shit works. Luigi Mangione, right, who is on video murdering a guy, hasn't even had his second court date yet. That was over a year ago. Like, these things take way too long, and I wish they moved faster. But I like that we live in a country where we don't see something and immediately move to execution. That, like, we take our deliberate time with a lot of this stuff. And I think that's the opposite of what we saw for the last 4 years.
Well, but the big difference, though, is that he's in jail, right? So, and especially with the Epstein case, and I don't know what evidence there is out there, but if there is somebody on tape who is alive now, who you can verify that it's them through the video or whatever, if they're on tape raping a kid or something like that, something of that nature, there should be an immediate arrest.
Yes.
Right? You should, like, people are like, whoa, it takes time or whatever. No, if they're doing something like that, that should be an immediate arrest. I don't know if that exists out there, because they said, there's all this child porn out there. I don't know exactly what that means, but they weren't very clear on their messaging. But the thing is if there's a tape that exists like that and that person is out in the world, that should be an immediate arrest. I don't really care what.
Look, you're 1,000% correct on the Epstein thing. Whose ever idea those binders were should have been fired for incompetency.
Oh, yes.
And look, I know a lot of the people that were involved in that. Angela knows them. I'm sure you got Scott and Jack and Emily, and these are good people. Like, they're not like, ooh, they're ploys of the deep state. Like, no, Jack Posobiec is not a tool of the deep state. Here's what happened. He got invited somewhere. They handed him a binder. They opened it up and went, what the hell is this?
Yeah, they got set up.
They did. And whoever, and look, just from a PR perspective, whose ever idea that was to do that should have been fired, because they're an idiot. Like, it was and it made a lot of our top voices, a lot of our biggest influencers, libs of TikTok and Cernovich, right? Cernovich was there. Whatever. I think Cernovich was there. A lot of the big names in our movement look like morons.
But that was the first stain against Pam Bondi as well.
Yeah.
That was the first thing. As soon as that happened, these are the same documents we've all been talking about. She said these are the documents on her desk, and she just handed the same thing that we've all seen. So that turned out pretty bad. Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
I was going to ask the question because you brought him up. Luigi. Now, Luigi, he killed the CEO of, United Health, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And to my understanding, the reason why he killed the CEO of United Health is because of all the money that the insurance companies are making.
Yeah.
Correct? Am I pretty much on the mark here?
Well, yeah, that's the going story.
Right. So why is it now that when President Trump says that instead of giving the money to these insurance companies, we're going to give it to the people, now the Democrats, they're supporting all of these CEOs at these insurance companies so they can receive the money and not us, we the people. Am I missing something here? Because I've been really thinking about that a lot lately, and I can't make the connection. What am I missing?
That President Trump can't be given a win. That's it. That's why
TDS.
I think
TDS.
Donald Trump should sign that executive order I've been calling for years now, coming out and talking about the importance of intaking oxygen. That way,
I've been calling for it as well. You know what? He needs to come out and say, everyone, I encourage you to go outside and take a really big, deep of breath air, suck it all in, and let it out.
Donald Trump should start coming out in favor of the opposite of everything. So Donald Trump should come out and go, everyone, when you go on a plane, you should take off your shoes. Like that way, all Democrats will keep their shoes on when they go on planes. Like, you know what you should do, guys? I think everyone should open up a tuna sandwich on a plane, or everyone should take their flamingo or their llama on a plane.
I kind of think that's what President Trump did with it come to the whole Epstein. Because you remember during the cabinet meeting, the reporter brought up Epstein and President Trump got irritated because he said, we're talking about all of these positive things and you're talking about this guy here. So the left took that as that President Trump was trying to hide something. And I called it that day. I said, you know what? I think he's setting them up because we're constantly talking about how President Trump is playing 4D chess. And I'm sorry, I forget your name. You're above me here.
Jay, you don't have Jay in the name. I keep looking for it. Jay brought up a really good point that President Trump is like a comedian. We're going to look back at him in years. He's like a comedian and he's very intelligent. He's much more intelligent than Mandami. And I think he played them from the beginning to get all of them screaming because 4 years with Joe Biden, they had the opportunity to bring out the golden goose, the golden egg, to tear down President Trump, because I guarantee it, if they would have produced documents showing President Trump, implicating President Trump in the whole Epstein Island thing, they could have made the documents up. They could have lied about him. They lied about everything else. If they would have done that during the election, it would have tremendously hurt Trump, but they didn't do that. Right.
So I think he set him up.
Yeah, well, and the only reason we're even talking about the Epstein files or whatever is because President Trump was willing to look into it. He was willing to look at it. If we got Kamala Harris, we already had Joe Biden. They had no intention of opening up the Epstein files. They had no intention of looking into it. They had no intention of revealing anything to the public because they had the opportunity to already do it, and they didn't do it. The only reason it was brought up is because President Trump was willing to look into it. And so to claim that he's doing wrong, I think what President Trump did is, obviously he didn't have the Epstein files on his desk before he came into office the second term. He didn't know exactly what was in there. And so he overpromised a little bit. He overpromised on what he could deliver in terms of the Epstein files until he got into office. Now, there may be some substantial evidence still out there that they have to reveal, but I think it's most of it's pretty much gone and it's not useful in terms of like a case. I think that's where we're going to find when we really get to the core of what's out there. I think it's not useful in terms of like bringing somebody in or putting somebody in prison. I think that's what we're going to end up finding. But the thing is like I have full faith that he's going to try and give us as much transparency on it as possible, because I don't think he's guilty on any of it.
Well, I feel like a lot of us are wanting transparency in a lot of ways, right? I feel like that's also been a big part of just a lot of conversations. And like, I don't know, I feel like it's so hard to trust anyone these days. Like, I don't know. It stinks to have to be skeptical, but there is a lot of political theater, I feel like, more and more. And so, I'm having a hard time,
I think it's good to be skeptical.
Yeah.
I think it's good to be in that position because then you're asking questions, regardless of who's telling it to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we need to stay on that path because, for example, kind of off topic, but not, if we're going to build a rocket together, we have to talk about the unknown. And if we don't talk about the unknown, we will never get the rocket off the ground. Just an example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that it's intelligent and smart to ask questions.
But to go back what you were saying earlier, if you're a liberal, you can't really ask really that many questions. And I don't know why it's like that. I mean, I really don't know why, other than trying to shut down. I remember having a conversation with this lady when I was in California. I was in San Francisco, and we were having a back and forth conversation, or at least I thought we were. And she said, no, I talk, you just listen. Like, that's not a conversation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, especially on social media, prior to Elon buying X, they could silence us. They could kick us off the platform. You know, on Facebook, like I had like 0 reach on there. I couldn't get anything out. Even my mom would say, you know, 2 weeks later that she would see a post of mine or something like that. You know, that's how suppressed everything was on there. And so, you know, in terms of like where we are right now versus back then, I mean, we can really.
Is it not happening now though? Because I mentioned, I used to see Angela's video every single day. I mean, sometimes I couldn't see anything on my feed but her. I mean, it was that much. I'm telling you, it was that much content coming from her every single day. As soon as I opened up the app, there she was. Close the app, open it up, there she was. I'm telling you, I'm not exaggerating it either.
Those were the days, right?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, it just dropped off. I mean, so it's still happening.
Fucked. Some guy got like, I don't know who he probably one of these weird Indian bot accounts. He got like 3 million views. All he posted was LOL.
Well, yeah, there was one.
Meanwhile, I'm over here, and I mean this genuinely. If I stuck my fucking head out the window and yelled my tweets, more people would view it at this point. And I'm like, I don't know what happened. And my whole feed is all Democrats. It's all Krasenstein. It's all Harry's sister. It's all that fat chick whose name I can never remember. The one who somebody told her to make a joke about being at dinner. Honey, one big to another. You can't make a food joke when you're plump. It doesn't work.
She's the one that says all the MAGA men want her, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess, you know, never mind. I was so gonna cross a line there. CW Noski. No, JoJo has blocked me.
I think she blocked me too at this point.
Really?
Because I have actually met her in real life. And I want to be clear. The hardest working thing on her Twitter account is the filters. Like I tell you, them filters are working hard. She seems nice.
You don't say that about me when I'm not around, do you?
Nah, you look good in real life.
Thank you. That sounded like I was fishing for compliments.
Don't worry. I'm here for it. Okay. I promise you, everyone, the forehead is a regular size in real life.
In case anyone's curious.
Because that was like a thing. They went after. There was like all these people with forehead comments. That's so. Look, I'm sure it's not funny for you.
It's fine.
But for us watching, it was hilarious. I was like, wait, that's it? Like, what are you, 9?
Yeah, people are not original. It's just like over and over and over with the forehead stuff.
It's like when people jump in my comments and they're like, oh, I thought this was Silent Bob. Thank God. I'm like, bro, your lack of originality is shocking.
Yeah, exactly. Not impressed. We are not impressed.
I just tell people you're right. I am Kevin Smith, except I'll admit that I wrote Good Will Hunting.
So Siwanowski is also the quiet part pod, wants to know if she's as unhinged in real life as she is online.
Nah, she was very nice. She had no idea who I was. And then when she found out, because, you know, my profile picture may be touched up a little bit as well.
He says his forehead goes all the way to his neck.
Yeah, so I don't think she noticed. But then I was like, oh, it was great to meet you. And then added her and watched her look at her phone and like look up and then blocked.
Quiet part pod also, thank you for the gift. I see your comment on my phone, but not in the chat for some reason. Republicans are allergic to winning, and when Trump said we'd get tired of winning, he wasn't lying.
He's right. He's right, because it's easier to fundraise when you're in the minority. It's easier to grow when you're bitching about things. Fox News wouldn't be what it is today without 8 years of complaining about Obama. Just like CNN and MSNBC would be dead without 10 years of complaining about Trump. And look, it's different. It's very difficult to grow when you're in power. It's a lot easier to complain than it is to govern. And I think that sometimes Republicans enjoy being the loyal opposition.
Well, guys, I'm so thankful that you, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I'm so thankful for you. You all rock. This has been awesome. I really appreciate you all taking the time in a holiday week for being here. Will, it was a pleasure. It was so nice to have you here tonight. I'm glad that it worked out, and I really appreciate you jumping in on such short notice.
Sure.
I'll start with you, Will. If there's anything you want to shout out, I know your handle's there. Do you have anything coming up you want to promote?
No, the only thing other than that is, you can watch me Monday through Friday on LFA TV at 2:00 East Coast time. And then, of course, Loud Majority comes up right after me on LFA TV. It's pretty awesome. We get into the nitty gritty. And sometimes we take phone calls, and we engage with our audience. So, and I want to say thank you again. And I'm not saying it just to be saying it. I loved your videos, and I disagreed with a lot of things that you were saying, but I will still watch your videos because I think you have every right to do what you do. And I think you have every right to think the way you want to think, because this is what makes us America, because we can be different and we can disagree about stuff. So, and I'm happy to see that you're like coming to the side of the Jedis, no longer the side of the dark.
She won't say it, Will, but if I had my last dollar on who she voted for.
I know. You guys are you're always trying to box me in. I'm an unboxable lib. I'm very like anti-label, anti-boxes. So all I'm saying is like, I'm able to, call it extremes on both sides. Like I feel like I'm reasonable. I'm trying to be open-minded and have conversations. And there's just a lot, that is turning me off about what's going on with the Democratic Party. And I'm just able to kind of be reasonable and say that I don't agree with something. And again, I feel like through all these conversations, there has just been a lot of common ground, like a lot of things that we do agree on.
You should get a MAGA hat.
It's even better. We're getting a Trump 2028 hat.
I tell you, Angela,
Angela, oh my goodness, that would be so awesome. That would go viral.
You tell me where to send it, and I will. I have a flurry of merch. It's in the next room. I will send you a Trump 2028 ad.
Yeah, I've got one too.
I was going to say that whole rant she just went on is the longest possible way I have ever heard yet of going. Yeah, I definitely voted for Trump. Like, here we go. There is someone in my family who I shall not name, comes cozying up to me, and he just goes, big Democrat. Right before the election, he just goes, there's no fucking way I'm voting for her. I was like, he's like, but I can't tell anybody. I got you.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't care. Keep it a secret. I don't care. Whatever you got to do, I just want the win.
I'm pretty sure it's the same right here.
Well, she can't, because you get canceled when you admit to certain things. So you got to keep some things private.
No, I did vote for Kamala. I did, but I'm also just, I don't know, able to say that I think that the Democratic Party should have learned some lessons and didn't do things right. And what's been frustrating is the doubling down and the unwillingness to admit any, there's sort of an ego and an arrogance right now, I think, where they just think that they're right. Like the party thinks that they're right. And they're not able to take accountability for some things or be like, oh yeah, this could have been, I don't know. There's a lot of that.
And they should be fighting and supporting and even wanting to protect you as a woman. I'm just saying. These men going into women's locker room, I can't stand that. Women deserve their space. Mm-hmm. I mean, really.
Mm-hmm.
I do also think that there are more people in the Democratic Party that it's not so black and white with them either. I think there's a lot of us who are don't know exactly what it should look like, but that can agree with a lot of that, biological men and women's. I think there are a lot of friends of mine that are liberal that we all are so I think there's more gray area, then I don't think that it's so cut and dry either. But anyways, so thank you so much, Will. Jay, we have your handle here. Anything you have coming up you want to shout out? I know it's a holiday week, so.
Yeah, actually, I'm streaming tomorrow night at 8 Eastern. I have Down Brown from North Carolina who's running for Senate. We're pushing him. So running that one with Margot from North Carolina, Cassie Clark, Land of Illusion, and Kimmy will be there with me too. So it should be a good show tomorrow, 8 Eastern, live on X, Rumble, and YouTube.
Fantastic. And Kevin.
Yeah, you guys can follow me right here in my X handle. That's where I do all my best work, and maybe more than 7 people will see my posts. Or you can check me out every day, 3 p.m. right after Will, rumble.com/LFATV. We have a lot of fun over there on that channel, especially at 3 p.m. Tomorrow, I'm going to be making fun of Jennifer Welsh because she's not nice. And you know, a little too much work. So if you're not nice, I get to make fun of you. So
that seems fair.
I will not insult someone's looks until they're the rudest mother. And then I will.
That was good. That was good.
I don't have like a beat button, but I need one.
Yeah.
So I just turn the mic down.
Oh, if we had like a hand signal, maybe I could be like, burr, like I could make sound effects for you. I don't know. I can be like your sound machine or something, sound effects machine. Does anyone have any final thoughts about Thanksgiving? Do you want to give anyone an advice for how to handle family, relatives, politics?
Alcohol.
Okay. What's your drink of choice, Kevin?
Redneck Riviera.
Yeah, that's actually really good whiskey.
Signed by John Rich. So
yeah.
I've never had it.
Which is why this is the first bottle of liquor I've never opened, because it's signed and I feel like it's calling me.
It's actually really good. You should drink it.
Yeah. No, I'm a beer guy.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, enjoy.
What's your husband drink?
You too.
What? Oh, thanks. So, and do you, Will or Jay, have any tips for staying sane over I mean, obviously it should be nice, but you know, sometimes with family or those gatherings could come drama.
I'm good. It's just me and my son, so there's no drama there. He knows where I stand.
Fair enough. Well, enjoy that. Sounds lovely.
Yeah. Well, with me being in Texas, all of my family is throughout the country, and they're all liberals. So they don't want to come to my Thanksgiving because they know what I do. They know that I support Trump. They know that I'm MAGA, and they have a major problem with it. But I still be respectful, and I still welcome them all the time. And I still want to see you in a MAGA hat. That would be so great. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you. I'm gonna dream about it tonight. I'm telling you, because I'm asking you.
I'll send you one. You let me know what color. I'll send you right.
Oh, it got to be red, Kevin. It has to be red.
Angela,
it
right
has to be that red MAGA hat.
I'll send you a whole slew of all the available options.
Oh my gosh. That's funny. I'm going to be getting like some photoshopped things going. I feel this coming in my DMs or something. There's going to be some of that going on.
Well, we use AI now. That's a good
Yeah,
point.
I know. That's true. You're right.
That's going to be my thumbnail tomorrow. It's going to be you in a MAGA. Eli, get on it, bro.
Well, Will, I'm sorry that's the situation that you're in. Like, it would be nice if, you could disagree and still, be able to be together. And it's a shame.
But they're liberal. So, I mean, it's kind of be expected now today. So,
well, I don't know. I hope we all heal a bit. I hope the country heals. And anyways, guys, thank you so much again. I really appreciate it. It's been great. I wish you all a wonderful, beautiful, yummy Thanksgiving. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much. Everybody, show them lots of love. give them all the support. Appreciate you guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Oh my goodness. Okay, so a couple quick comments I didn't get to. I did see a question from Randy. Randy said, Angela, are you still happy with your move? Miss NYC at all? I am really happy with my move. For those of you who don't know, I was born and raised in Florida, and I moved to New York City in 2013 and lived there for the past 12 years. And just made the decision to come back to Florida for a variety of reasons. One of the main ones being I was just starting to feel the city has meant a lot to me. I fell in love with it. It really changed me, strengthened me, all of that. Like I had so many incredible experiences I never would have. The energy of that city really was one of the best decisions that I ever made. I experienced things I never would have if I stayed in Florida my whole life. So big on that, having new experiences, trying new things, getting outside of your comfort zone. So it was amazing, but I started already and then kind of about a year ago feeling really unsafe on the subway, commuting to work every day. And it just got really, really bad. That mixed with 12 years of freezing dark winters mixed with, best friends and family being in Florida. It just felt like the right time and I'm big on chapters. So I think it's important to trust your instincts and trust your gut and listen to yourself. It can be tough, like change. I think for all of us, I think that's a very common human theme is that change is difficult for us. We can get comfy. We can get, it can be big to like uproot things. It can be a big deal. So sometimes people stay and kind of get stuck. But in my opinion, it's really important to listen to yourself and especially for your own emotional well-being and YOLO, you only live once, you only have one life. And so, you want to live it, I guess, the best that you can and be true to yourself. So yes, I'm really sorry, long answer, really enjoying Florida right now. The weather has been beautiful. It has been really good. Like the sun and, like I said, the warmer weather. So that's been awesome. So yeah, I haven't really missed New York City. It's only been a few months, but I haven't really missed it at all, apart from, some friends and things like that, but not so much. David, thank you so much. I have no clue about Thanksgiving. Enjoy your picnic, Kevin and gang. Angela, you have a great time. Thank you so much. Will, appreciate you. Great show and panel. Bobby, happy holidays, everybody. Yes. And Net Access Group, love you. Happy Thanksgiving. So that being said, I do want to promote some things. We do have this Bold Chat live stream every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And usually it's on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. But this Thursday is Thanksgiving. And so instead, I'm going to do it tomorrow. So if you guys are around, I know it's a busy week with the holiday. But if you're around and you're looking for something to do in the afternoon, I'm going to do a Bold Chat live stream tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I have some fabulous guests coming on tomorrow, some women talking crypto and stuff like that. So join us for a bit tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. If you haven't already, please check out the link in my bio and follow me over on Rumble so that you can catch all the streams. And Bold Talk is my weekly podcast episode that releases on Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm going to show you a quick little clip from last week's episode with Owen Schroyer. If you missed it, you can head over, link in bio, and watch it now. Watch all the previous episodes, and there will be a new one releasing this Friday. So I'm going to go ahead and share this clip of my interview with Owen Schroyer on last Friday's Bold Talk. in fact swatted before?
Yes.
I have also been swatted. It is a traumatic experience. What happened in your situation and how bad was it?
So I have a house in a very small cul-de-sac. So I guess it kind of, I was anticipating it too. This was right when the string of them started happening. And it was a lot of close associates of mine. So I was already anticipating this was happening. So I was kind of already mentally prepared. But what was actually crazy, what was really the toughest was watching it afterwards, because I actually had multiple guns pointed at me. They had their laser sights on my head and my neck and my back and my chest. And so, at the time I'm just like, hey, just go through the motions, cooperate, like, you know what this is, whatever. And then afterwards, when I saw the footage of it, that's when it was kind of surreal and chilling. It was like, holy shit. Like I was a slip finger away from a bullet going through me. So in the aftermath, seeing that, it was a little intense. But yeah, afterwards, it was pretty wild. But you know what sucked? And I don't know if they did this to you, but they do have to come in and they got to flip everything, right? They got to find the victim. So they're flipping everything, looking under mattresses, everything. I mean, tore my house apart. So that kind of sucked to have to deal with. I have security cameras at my house. I actually only released one of the security cameras. And then my neighbor had footage of it too. And my neighbor was actually the one that got the shot where you can see all their lasers pointing at me. And I had another neighbor. And then I had another neighbor who came out and started yelling at him when they had me on the ground. They had me on the ground like this. And he's like, leave him alone. What are you doing? He's not the bad guy.
Yeah, but I didn't know what swatting was when it happened. So once I learned about it after, I was like, that's really scary because people die. So a lot of people don't know about this. So I like to ask about it to raise awareness on that too.
It sounds like they were pretty nice to you though.
So yeah, that's just a little clip of last week's interview with Owen Schroyer. If you don't know what swatting is, I'm glad that I discovered that Owen also had that experience, which I had back several years ago. I guess it's more than several years ago now, but it is terrifying. Yes, Bob says that's scary. It really is. So you'll hear us talk about that and much, much more. These interviews have been incredible because a lot of these creators, influencers, activists, etc., talk show hosts. There's a variety. I'm trying to switch it up and get people with all different backgrounds, experiences. And it's cool because, you might know them from social media or their show or something, but you don't really get to get that closer look into who they are. So I'm really enjoying doing the interviews because it's a conversation to really kind of get to know more about what makes them who they are, where they came from, what their upbringing was like, different experiences that have sort of shaped them, things like that, things they're proud of. You get a lot of there's a lot of life hacks in there and advice and a lot of good nuggets. And really, you might think that you know this person or you have your mind made up about this person, but you don't know. Maybe if you watch the interview, it will change your mind or you'll learn something new about them. So it's been really, really fun. And so, yes, please, once again, if you would like to catch up on all of the Bold Talk podcast episodes, link in bio, head over, follow on Rumble, check it out. New one coming at you this Friday, even with the holiday week. New one's coming at you. My guest this week is Lily Gaddis. And so, yeah, that new episode will release this Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Again, exclusive to Rumble. So check it out. And if you're around tomorrow, please join us for the Bold Chat live stream at 3 p.m. Eastern time. All brought to you by Network Access Group at Net Access Group. Is that it? I want to say I did see this, David. Dorothy had Kansas, Florida has Angela Belcamino, and Will, I would absolutely love to join you sometime. You were a pleasure and so nice. And It was great to talk with everyone. I think that's it for now, guys. If I don't see you, please have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. Enjoy. And I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Thank you guys. I'm thankful for you. I'm really, really grateful for all the love and support, for tuning into all of this, for contributing to the conversation. It's so important and I'm really enjoying it. And I hope that you are too. So thank you so much. It all means the world to me and all of your kind words. I appreciate you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night and a holiday week, and happy Thanksgiving.